very intrigued when the French label Hortus approached us with the idea of recording violin sonatas from the First World War.
This project was even more meaningful for both of us, as we grew up near the Franco-Belgian border, which has a huge history of the First World War.
I have always had a fascination for the early 1900s, the combination of incredible diversity in arts and music, and at the same time there's this really somber background in the world's events. This album is part of a large collection by Hortus that wants to examine how the war influenced composers in different ways. Of the composers of this disc, particularly Georges Antoine and Frederick Septimus Kelly were intimately involved in the war. They both fought in the trenches.
It was very interesting through the work of these composers, which are not that well known, to discover the very different styles that they could have. Maybe they wanted to express the same thing, but with a very different language.
Yet at the same time, one can see that all of these composers find a certain serenity in composing.
In Georges Antoine's Sonata, we can find, of course, some inspiration of the great legendary violinist Eugène Ysaÿe, who did influence many composers at that time, as César Franck or Guillaume Lequeux. And we feel that the lines that are written for the violin are so beautifully expressing. It gives us a chance to forget that we are playing, but we are more rather singing.
Georges Antoine is the youngest of the group. He died at the age of 26, right after the war. Yet he has already clearly found his own voice, and the work is full of youthful hope. Pfitzner was a rather bitter man, had lots of frustrations in his life, which was probably not aided by the fact that he was notoriously difficult. His struggles in life are mirrored in his music as well. The melody at times has more labored lines and also more wrenching harmonies, and it has an overall heavier feel. His refusal to fully adapt to either the Wagner group, the Brahms group, or even the more avant-garde group of the early 1900s likely contributed to him falling through the cracks of music history. One can clearly sense this ambiguity and question mark in his music as for what is next for classical music. Sonata by Frederick Septimus Kelly is a world premiere. It has never been recorded and was only recently discovered by the Australian Chris Latham. Kelly was a very interesting personality. Apart from being a composer, he was also an Olympian rower.
This is always very exciting and a little scary when you have to perform for the first time a work that actually you don't have any recording, any reference. You know that you are going to do the premiere of that work. We can also feel here the influence of a great violinist that has been also forgotten a little bit, Yelida Hani. She did inspire so many great composers like Bartók, Ravel, who did dedicate the Tzigane. She was the grandniece of Joseph Joachim.
In the midst of all this music in war times, we actually had a lot of fun performing this music together. The aspect of recording can bring out the very worst in musicians, but we discovered that we had very similar approaches to the whole process.
Maybe we would be happy to end the program of a violin and piano sonatas with an encore, and then we thought that the Nocturne of Lili Boulanger would be the best choice.
Along with her sister Nadia, she organized efforts to help the soldiers during World War I. From an early age, she struggled with health problems, and she died at the young age of 24.